Hopefully it's not too dark. So that's looking good. That was doing really poorly in the beginning, so I wasn't even sure it was going to live. That is supposed to be a squash. I don't know why, it looks to me like watermelon leaves, but musky squash. So just waiting for some flowers to pop on that. It's really taking over. Coming out onto the lawn, I don't care, I just won't mow there, right? This tomato plant is at the end of its life, which is okay. It's been giving me tomatoes with horns, which I don't care for. Kind of weird. So I'm just letting it die as it wants to. The tomatoes aren't great looking. Look at them. There's another one with trying to have a horn. We've had a lot of rain, so a lot of my tomatoes are splitting. There's another one with a horn. Crazy. That's a husky red. Gave some good sized tomatoes in the beginning. These guys don't know. I don't know. They also were doing pretty poorly, but now they've just taken off. We've had a week rain every other day, so I guess it likes it. Let's see what happens with those. I don't have a tag around here somewhere. It's another kind of squash. It's another squash. I'm trying all kinds of squash this year. So, this has got to be my poorest bed. I don't know if it's what's in the bed, or it's just the plants don't like it. Well, obviously these three plants do not like it here. So, I'm not going to try those again. Those are, let's see, they were, golden midget watermelons. They just do not want to be here. I thought if I grew a small watermelon, I would have a better chance because we have such a short season, but they just don't even want to grow. So that pepper, not so great either. It keeps starting to die and then coming back and starting to die and then coming back. I was really looking forward to it. Candy apple, sweet pepper. I thought that would be tasty, but it doesn't look like it's even going to have any peppers. So, this not so bad. Moon and Stars watermelon. The plant itself not so bad, but I don't know if I'm going to have a long enough season. Planted one on the other side. That's doing much better than that one. Besides this one, it's coming all the way out into the yard, all the way out to here, and it's had flowers on and off, so we'll see. Here's another first time for me is pumpkins. That's these. There were three. That one in the middle was not doing so good. It's just got a couple of little shoots. Keeps trying to die. This one I thought was dying because it got those stupid vine borers. I've had an issue with those this year. So I now know how to correct them. That's what that tube is. Toilet tissue tube. Keeps them from laying their eggs and then the larvae boring in and just killing the plant. So they're actually hanging on. That one not so great, but this one, apparently, after I killed the larvae inside, I fished it out. It is doing pretty darn good. Look at it go. It wants to keep going. And so that one is kind of trying to take over the yard a little bit. Go right ahead. I'd rather have food than grass anyway. Certainly a lot less to mow. So, and look. This will be my first ever pumpkin. I think this is called potato pie pumpkin. Something like that. Let's see, what is it? Oh, sugar pie pumpkin. So, yay, my first ever pumpkin. So, and The green beans. The green beans are doing great. Finally. Now I'll have to watch where I step in between all of my volunteer potato plants all over the place. I actually just dug one up from there because I needed potatoes for my soup yesterday, or day before. And of course the potatoes were there. And, free food, I don't care. There's another one. This one's ready to harvest actually because the plant's dead. These I don't harvest because they're still growing, so the potatoes are still growing. Until they start looking like that, I don't pull them out. And actually I won't pull them out until I need them. Until it's getting ready for the ground to start freezing, in which case I won't be able to dig them out. I'll leave them in there until I have to. But yay, my green beans all the way to the top. They're meeting in the middle. And yes, I do have some buds. So I'll finally have some green beans. Oh, there's another one. It took a long time for these green beans to have flowers. I just don't understand why it took so long, but there you have it. Now hopefully it'll give me a lot. This needs to get a lot bushier up top and just fill that right up. These are the yard-long green beans, so 18 inches is optimal to eat them. Yeah, I don't even want to talk about that bed. Not happy about that bed. That right there is a nasty cauliflower. Yeah, it's not supposed to be purple. I mean, that's what it does when you don't cover the leaves over the plant as it's growing and keep it white. When it's like this, it's bitter. You can't eat it. You can, but I wouldn't suggest you eat it. This is a tomato plant that just did not want to go up the pole. And it's just doing whatever it wants to. And I said, you know what? Go right ahead. It's got its first flowers after all this time. That's fine with me. Broccoli out in the path that I'm letting flower so that I can get some seeds. I need some new seeds. This is a nice tomato plant. Finally, it took a long time. This is a Krista tomatoes. And these took a long time to start ripening, but you know what? They're such beautiful tomatoes. Absolutely beautiful tomatoes. Look at that. It's like a perfect tomato. And I've got lots of salsa to make. And actually want to make some homemade tomato beef macaroni soup. So that I can have a bunch of canned soup for the winter. There's some more. These are Kristas. And tons more to ripen. So moving over under this trellis. Okay, so check this out. This is a squash. Let me back up a little bit so you can see where we are. Okay, that's the end, the last trellis. Tomato, second trellis, squash. That squash actually started, follow me, there's more tomatoes. There's more, there's the squash, more tomato. Third trellis, oh, more squash. Oh, squash. Yeah. That's where it started, right there. And there's those vine borers killing my plants. I don't understand how this is working. Again, I haven't done much squash. I always did zucchini and summer squash, but this is winter squash. And so I never had this issue before. Apparently they just love these vines. And it got it right where it was growing out. It has killed it. But it goes and then it lives, and I don't understand that. And I know that sounded really silly, but it's pretty much dead there. I've touched it, it's all spongy, there's nothing really there, but everywhere else, and it's still going. That's going way down there. So Hopefully it'll stay long enough for my squash to get ripe. I don't know. Next year I will know how to combat that with the tubes, but I didn't catch it in time. Look at that. That is my first sweet meat squash. And boy, is it looking good. It's nice and big. Got a ways to go though. First sweet meat squash. Now back to this tomato plant in between the first and second trellis. It's getting drowned out by this. Wow, I can't even get it all in the picture. This is one, okay, there you go. This is one zucchini plant. One zucchini plant. It's a new kind I was trying this year. I haven't yet gotten any zucchini, but it's finally gotten flowers. So I should have zucchini soon. But this is the gray, I don't know, some kind of gray striped zucchini. I think it's English. But yeah, it's huge, and the leaves are just gorgeous. And that poor tomato plant behind it got covered up. I didn't think it was going to get that big. Usually the zucchinis I grow are lower to the ground and not that big. So, sorry tomato, but this tomato plant's still doing okay. It's got a lot of tomatoes in there. Lots of tomatoes in there. Just hopefully won't get crowded out too much. So yeah, the tomatoes on the trellis are doing really well. And so next year, that's what I'm doing. I'm no longer doing this to the sky because of all the breakage problems I had, which I have fixed with those T-posts temporarily, but it was just, I didn't care for it. I think it'll be nice. They're going to get tall, so let them get tall on the trellis. So I will use these 3 trellises for these tomatoes next year. And look at my pretty flowers. I'm going to turn the camera sideways. No, I'm not. That'll mess you up. All right, let me come out here. The pretty flowers. Aren't they gorgeous? I always plant flowers in the garden. Get the bees down here. And there's my marigolds. Didn't come up very well this year. Behind the marigolds, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? This goes right in a salad. Yum. So that is Swiss chard. I am no longer growing lettuce because, yeah, lettuce is nice, but it's so picky. It doesn't like the heat. It bolts in the heat. Swiss chard, it really tastes, it's a little bit stronger than just regular lettuce. Iceberg, don't even talk about it, it's water. But regular other lettuces have a little bit more flavor. These have more than that, but not as much as like spinach. So these go on my sandwiches. If I have a salad, which I don't very often, that's what I'm using. But otherwise, that's what I'm using instead of lettuce, so on my sandwiches. So yeah, I'm going to come around this way. Oh, and my carrots are doing great. They really like being underneath the tomato plant. I think they like the shade. So they're doing awesome. I just pull those as I need them, thinning them out a little more each time. And I'll have some, okay, more Swiss chard. So now I also know I don't need this many plants. They get big. So 4 plants probably at the most. I did the whole bed over here. I also have my beets. I don't know if you can see. It's kind of, these are beets. Those golden beets, which really are good. I like them a lot better than the regular beets. Let me pull one. Let me pull one. I like them a lot better than the red beets. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? And it's golden yellow inside. And the greens from these beets are so good. Instead of, if you saute spinach and you like sauteed spinach, those are the people I'm talking to. These beet greens are so good that way. Sauteed in garlic and butter. Great. So let me take that with me. And so yeah, we have tomatoes, tomatoes, tomatoes. Tons of tomatoes. And up over my head. Okay, so the top of this, that was an 8-foot 1x2. So if there's a foot in the ground, that means this is 7 feet tall. And it is shooting for high. It wants to go higher, so it is just, let me back up so you can get a good picture. So yeah, that's 7 foot and it wants higher. So I guess I probably should top them off, just cut the tips off so they stop growing taller. But what the heck? It's already pretty wild out here. I'll let them do what they want. Who knows, I might get more tomatoes out of it. So yeah, this one's getting ready to break. I don't have a T-post in that one, and it's not even all the way up the post. So that's not going to happen again. These are just more broccoli. I just come out and I snip them off as I want to eat them. There was one broccoli head in the middle, but if you leave the plant, it keeps giving you these shoots. So I just come out and snip some shoots when I want to eat them. The rest, if they go to flower, then that's fine because I'll have more seeds. So happy with that. I was going to try and plant something else in here, but it's kind of late. I might try and throw some carrots in, but I don't know if I'll have a lot of time. So I'm going to back up a little bit. So that one's doing okay. But again, it's heavy and it looks like it wants to break that. We'll see. I just leave it laying on the ground if it does. Okay, and more flowers. They're so pretty. More tomatoes. Look how high. I mean, it's very high. Okay, so now I showed you my sweet meat squash. Now I'm going to show you the rest of my squash. Okay, I'm backing up because I can't fit it all in the picture. It took over. So this one is going, it's just going and going and going. And there's 2 squash on here, right in here. And I've got 3 different kinds here. I've got on the outsides, this one, and this one are buttercup. And the one in the middle, I honestly didn't realize that the plants would get this big and want to keep going. The one in the middle is a sweet dumpling. The other one was sweet meat. This is sweet dumpling. I like sweet squash, I've discovered. So I'm trying to grow as many sweet ones as possible. I'm going to go around the side so I can show you. That sweet dumpling in the middle went in through here and it has decided it wants to climb up the tomato. So I've got this squash going up my tomato. Fine, do what you want. That's what I say. Look at the squash. I've got a squash there. Got one here. Got one here. Let me put my hand right next to it so you can see the size. That's the size it is now. I can't wait to try those. So yeah, squash everywhere. And in the middle of my squash beds in the second level, I thought it would be smart to put my peppers. Well, now I have a hard time reaching my peppers, but the peppers like it there. I just have a hard time reaching them, getting in and around the squash. But there is peppers. I don't know if you can see, it's getting pretty dark. But there is big green peppers on there. And so what I think I'm going to do, let me turn you around again, sorry. Oh yeah, take a look at my buttercup squash. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see it. It's right there. There it is. Got a big one over here on this side. Nice big buttercup squash. Nice and big. Okay, so I need a new plan for my squash for next year. I've got a plan. But check that out. That whole area is sweet potatoes. I don't know if you remember, if you saw my other video, I had a strip about 8 foot long plastic strip where I planted the slips, and then I had another shorter one about 4 foot long that I planted a few more slips. That's all sweet potato now. And sweet potato are not like regular potato. Oh, there we go, it lightened up. Sweet potato are not like regular potato. Wherever that vines out, from what I understand, if it puts roots in the ground at the different sections of where it vines out, it grows more sweet potatoes. Yay! So I am so excited, and from what I understand, you can eat those greens, but I want sweet potatoes bad, so I'm going to wait until I'm sure there's some sweet potatoes in the ground before I start testing those leaves and see how those saute up. So yeah, that's my squash taking over, sweet potatoes taking over, and oh my god, potatoes. Have I got potatoes? So I'm gonna have to back up some more. I am way back. So I did 3 rows and they are doing great. And then you gotta love this. I do the silliest things, but they've all flowered already, so they're done flowering. I should have got pictures of that. The sweet potatoes and the regular potatoes are competing for space over here. But what I did was I ran, oh, there's still some more flowers. There's still some flowering. Yeah, and a weed. I'm not bothering too much with weeds, I don't care. It is what it is, right? I've only got so much time and everything's doing well. So, I mean, nature, you know. Well, I have leftover seed potatoes. I got the bag for free from Runnings. I planted 3 rows and I said, okay, I'm done. I'm tired, so I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of these potatoes. Well, I put them in my garage and a week later there were eyes all over them and I said, okay, you know what? I cannot just throw these in the garbage. I just can't. They're food. But I don't want to spend any time with them. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go dig a big hole. This is probably half the bag. So probably 25 pounds of potatoes. I said, I'm just going to dig a hole and plant them. And there they be. This big old hole there's a big old hole, and I just dumped them in, and I covered them over, and I said, let them do what they're going to do. Because my goal is, boy, is it getting dark, sorry. My goal is to have this stuff, as much of this stuff as possible, grow on its own eventually. Yeah, maybe a little bit of maintenance, but I don't plan on coming out here every year, every spring, digging everything up, planting everything all over again every year. That's not my goal. I enjoy gardening, but I enjoy a lot more the thought of coming out, doing a little bit, but just finding food. And that's what I'm going to do. This is going to be the potato area from now on. Since I had so many volunteer potatoes over there from planting them 4 years ago and thought I had them all dug up, and they just keep coming back. You can't tell me that in New York potatoes don't grow on their own because it gets too cold. So that's obviously not true. So there you go. So if they're going to grow so well when I thought I had them gone and tried to keep them gone, then have at it, and I will hopefully have a lot of potatoes. Same with the sweet potatoes, I hope. I really, really hope. Well, no, sweet potatoes don't work the same way. I can't keep them in the ground. They won't come back next year. They don't grow like those potatoes. They're a different kind of a vegetable. They don't do the same thing. From what I understand, I can only grow sweet potatoes from the slips, from the greens. So I may have to order those every year because here it doesn't stay warm enough out here, or it gets way too cold for the greens to survive all year round. So that I might have to do. But so squash. Yay. And oh, I didn't show you. I was right next to it showing you the squash underneath of it, but those are my peas. One more shot because it's getting so dark you probably can't see, so let me get over there. Yes, peas. And they're doing okay, you know, they're starting to die now. The plants only go for a short time. They give you peas for a couple of weeks and then they're done. So I'm gonna go quick seed some more. Hopefully I'll get a second set, but they did go all the way up. And I also discovered, as you can see, it's pretty sparse. I can double up as many peas as I had in there. I had 6 on each side, so I'm doing 12 on each side next time. So there we go. Have a good night.